a while since we had a Saints Insider video, but after last night's game, took some time to think about it a little bit. Got some sleep on it, and these are what we're gonna be talking about today. I'm just still kind of in shock how the Saints continue to do this over and over, continue to be mid ever since Drew left, and we keep pushing forward like we're a win now team when we need to completely blow this team up. Stop holding on to former star players who aren't the same anymore. I love Michael Thomas. I love Cameron Jordan. I I just love players like that. I love Alvin Kamara. I love us trying to bring in veterans like Jamal Williams to make plays for us. But we need to just let it go. We we moved out. We didn't win in our window, and we need to focus on the rebuild now. Stop trading away our first round picks. Olave has been great. Trevor Penning, not really. But we really need to stop mortgaging our future away. Stop setting salary cap and dead cap down the road because now we're gonna be facing it this offseason. We might win. Say we win against the Bucks and the Falcons. There's still a good chance we don't even make the playoffs. We finish 9-8 again. We get a mid-round pick, 15th, 14th overall pick, and we draft someone. But we need to either go and rebuild this thing entirely or somehow get a star player, which I don't think that's even in the question anymore because we're not a quarterback away. We brought in a quarterback. Defense can't even stop anybody now. This rush defense the last 2 years has been completely awful. We've had teams like the Eagles, Ravens. This year we had the Rams run all over us. The Lions ran all over us. We consistently cannot stop the run, and it's completely ruining our defense. We gave up like 5 yards of carry to Kyron Williams yesterday. It's completely unacceptable. So first I'm gonna recap the game, and then I'll go into like the three big topics for this video. So we lost the game yesterday, 30-22, and don't get fooled by the score. The score was much worse than that. We scored a few cheap touchdowns at the end, a fake comeback like we've done in so many games against the Lions, the Vikings, the Jaguars, etc. Like the Saints continue to do this, but cannot score in games when it actually matters and to keep the game close. We let it get way out of hand and score some cheap touchdowns at the end. So Derek Carr finished 27 of 40, 319 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Yeah, he was sacked twice. It's an average game. The 1 interception still confusing me. I watched him in the post game interview. He said he was trying to fit it over him. Even if he was trying to fit it over him, that's chance of that pass getting through 1, maybe 2%. You just can't do that. You gotta take the sack. Led to an easy touchdown. I mean, the Rams, the way their offense was playing yesterday, they probably would have scored regardless if we would have punted that ball away. But you just can't throw an interception like that. Give them a super short field to almost guarantee at least some points and an ultimate touchdown. Just unacceptable by Derek Carr. And he has to be better than that, making decision making. There's some throws yesterday that he probably wishes he had back, and I definitely do too. He had Alvin Kamara on a flat route. I personally don't think it was his fault on the Olave third down play. We'll get more into that play later because I think that was a big momentum swing in the game. But he did have some really good throws. The one to Shaheed, the deep ball, giving A.T. Perry a chance to go up 1-on-1, make that catch. But it's just average. It's what we thought Derek Carr pretty much was when we brought him here. Paid him all that money, but we expected the defense to be amazing. When even coming into the season, I knew our biggest need was rush defense. We had teams like the Ravens last year run all over us. The Niners ran all over us. Teams have consistently ran all over us. This isn't 2018, 2019 anymore. We were the best rush defense in the league. We didn't allow a 100-yard rusher. That is in the past, and I think the Saints, Mickey Loomis, Dennis Allen, still think that's our defense, and that's just not us anymore. Cameron Jordan can't stop the run like he did before. Our defense, interior D line is just not the same. Carl Granson's a great pass rusher, but he can get out on some of the jet sweeps, but you can't stop the run with one player. Pete Warner consistently just makes a play and then he misses 3 plays. It's like we need consistency, and the defense just doesn't have it anymore. So going to the rushing game, it was abysmal. We had total as a team 16 rushes for 35 yards total. Kamara had 9 carries and only 19 yards, an average of 2.1. His long for the game was 5 yards. They consistently bottled up the run. It was really embarrassing. We were running on first down, be 2nd and 9, 2nd and 8. It's like why we're wasting a play running the ball on first down. We're trying to keep him honest, open up the play action. Which it's just honestly a waste of down at this point. But we can't pass it 3 plays in a row because our offensive line cannot block for Derek Carr that long. Aaron Donald, we had to respect him. Obviously, he's still a phenomenal player. Got to give him a double team, but we can't double him when they bring five rushing. So it's just a mess. The offense, defense, special teams it's all honestly a mess, and the Saints really need to think about their future. So receiving, we had our leading receiver at Chris Olave, 9 catches, 123 yards. He had 13 targets. Shaheed had 5 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown, a long touchdown by Derek Carr. Beautiful route, beautiful play call too. Had Olave bring the safety over, left Shaheed 1-on-1. Perfect throw, amazing play call by Pete Carmichael. He had some really good calls today. Some of them wasn't his fault; they just didn't execute them. So I really wasn't terribly mad. I mean, I wish we would probably ran the ball a little bit less because it just wasn't there, and it felt like it wasted down a lot of the time. They locked Taysom Hill up twice. We tried to run it with them, but the Rams just outplayed us, and they're just honestly, frankly, just a better team. This team is just not playoff caliber. They can't play defense, can't play offense. Juwan Johnson had 4 catches for 48 yards and a touchdown. He had a nice touchdown late. Great play call as well. Had him on the out and up. Phenomenal. Kamara only had 5 catches for 16 yards. Just check downs. Frankly, that's what it is. Foster Moreau had 1 catch for 13 yards. Those are pretty good catches. Good job getting the ball by Derek Carr. But it was a little behind him, but it was a phenomenal catch. So now going to the defense, we have Paulson Debo, the lead tackler. He had 10 tackles, 1 pass defended. I thought Paulson Debo was pretty good. He had a nice pass breakup in the end zone. He gave that one deep pass in the first play of the second half to Puka, but I frankly thought it was just great coverage, or I might have been Alontae Taylor. Paulson Debo was right there next to him. It was pretty good, great coverage. It was just a better catch and a better throw. Tyrann Mathieu, again, another one of these older guys that we just gotta get rid of. It's just not working. We need to develop. We need to draft, and he doesn't really have a lot left, in my opinion. He's okay, but he's frankly kind of slow. Rush in the run D, he's okay. He's average, but we're bringing these guys in like we're a Super Bowl caliber team when we're not. We had Alontae Taylor get benched later in the game for who was it? Ugo Amadi. He came in and benched Alontae Taylor. Then it's announced after the game that he just wasn't filling the gaps in some plays. And I saw a play on Twitter that said it was on the Kyren Williams rushing touchdown. Alontae Taylor just didn't come in and try to make a play at all on the ball carrier. That might be why. And then Pete Werner, I really have to talk about Pete Werner. He had one nice play on Cooper Kupp, tackle behind the line of scrimmage, but slipped on the touchdown to Puka Nacua. And then he just always seems like a step thrown, and he always seems like he's getting out physical out there. Those offensive linemen, Titans just pushing him all over the place, and I think that's a big contributor to why our rush defense is so bad. If Demario Davis can't be everywhere, and Demario Davis, even for his age, he's one of the players I think maybe just try to trade, to be honest, and just blow it all up, because I think he still, frankly, does have some value. He's been phenomenal ever since he got to the Saints. One of the best trades Mickey Loomis made, getting him from the Jets. It was phenomenal. He's been such a stud for that defense, and frankly, I really think we'd be bottom 5 in the league if we didn't have Demario Davis, kind of saving us on defense. Him, Carl Granderson, and Paulson Debo this year have been phenomenal. And other than that, everyone else has been below average at best. And so now we're going to go on to the 3 topics for today. So, fire Dennis Allen, Mickey Loomis, tossing Pete Carmichael as well. I think, frankly, he's probably been better recently. He had some amazing calls yesterday. I love when teams do this. I watch a lot of Lions games as well. They do a lot with the Monroe. They put their star receiver. So they do a Monroe. We do Chris Olave in the backfield. It creates so many mismatches. Just like Alvin Kamara when he was in the beginning of his career, give him that choice route, go in or out. It's just so hard, especially even if it's a DB. It's just so hard to guard that. If you can give Derek Carr enough time, those plays, I love those type of plays. Getting your receiver in space and just letting him make a play, letting him decide where to go. if him and Carr can be on the same page, it would be phenomenal. Derek Carr said after the game that Olave's shoes just gave out at him, and that's why he was slipping down on that one pass on third down. We ended up going for it that next play. It was a overthrow to Juwan Johnson. They switched a throwaway. Derek Carr was under pressure. Juwan Johnson wasn't fully out of his outbreak yet. But it's just unfortunate. Olave ran a phenomenal route. He was playing amazing before that. In the first drive, I think he had three catches, 4 targets. It was awesome. Something else we need to target in the offseason too is potentially another kicker. I don't. Didn't sound after the game they're gonna be super aggressive, but 2 chances on the first 2 drives to get points. Looking at later in the game, we would only be down at 1 point later. Obviously, the game's not gonna play out the exact same, but getting points, I get you want to be aggressive, but let Blake Groupie kick it. If he can't make a 54, 58, or 55-yard field goal, why do we have him on our team? So many other teams would kick that field goal. I don't care if it's just the start of the game. It's 0-0. Put some points on the board. Give your defense a lead to play with, and let's go from there. Again, if they keep scoring out the gates, maybe they would have kept scoring, but maybe just changing the game by kicking field goals could have helped. I'm always a fan of playing aggressive and everything, but if Blake Groupie frankly can't make that field goal, we need to find someone else. And just putting points on the board in the beginning of the game, I think is just crucial. Gives the defense some momentum. The offense sees points on the board, get into more of a rhythm. But when you're just consistently going for on fourth down, getting zero, it's just at some point it's really demoralizing as a team. I think. Um, Next, talking about firing Dennis Allen, it's just his defense. Frankly, hasn't been what it is. When he was defensive coordinator, he was amazing, one of the better defensive coordinators in the league. But now, I don't know. I think so many times players I think aren't connecting with him anymore, and he's kind of lost the locker room. Frankly, you see players. I was on the game yesterday, and Michael Thomas and Marshall Lattimore just posting stuff on Instagram, liking some Saints posts. I'm just like, you see Michael Thomas always sending cryptic stuff. I think he's lost the locker room. I think no one wants to play for him, and frankly, Derek Carr. And I know we're under contract. I think it's really for another 2 more years with Derek Carr. But I think the Saints need to pivot every which direction. Derek Carr, Dennis Allen, Mickey Loomis, tossing Pete Carmichael to start fresh. We have some really nice young receivers. We have Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed to build around. I'm not sure yet on Kendrick Miller. He's had a lot of trouble staying healthy this season. Obviously, Alvin Kamara is aging. He's not the same. Jamal Williams looks like a frankly terrible pickup in free agency. He hasn't been able to do anything with the Saints. He looks like a shell of himself. It looks like he benefited a ton from playing with the Lions and that amazing offensive line. You see Dave Montgomery. They're kind of really similar running backs. I'd say Dave Montgomery probably has a little bit more left in his legs, but consistently goal line backs, getting 4 or 5 yards of carry, even though they don't have that explosiveness. That O line creates so much push, where that's why you see Jahmyr Gibbs getting 6, 7 yards of carry, 8 yards, blowing off for 20 yards, 20 yard runs. That O line is amazing. We brought Jamal Williams in thinking our O line is amazing, and we frankly can't block anything. We can't get any push in the run game. It's just bad on every level. Next, I think you gotta get rid of Mickey Loomis, Gail Benson. I think it's time to stop putting money forward to try and win now. Get rid of that dead cap, bro. Is the Saints every year? Everyone's like, "Oh, the Saints will make it work. Saints will make it work." Yeah, we do make it work, but for what? I mean, we're gonna best we can finish that as 9-8. Most likely won't make the playoffs. It's just consistently mid after mid after mid, and there's no future. There's nothing to look forward to. We don't have a quarterback in the helm waiting to be developed. We need to focus on the future, build around our young core receivers, see what Kendrick Miller has, beef up that O line, start fresh at quarterback, let someone develop in the draft. I don't think it's Jake Heiner, from out of Fresno State. I'm a big Fresno State guy, but I don't think he's the answer. We'll get into it later. Who I hope, and almost all other Saints fans hope, will be our quarterback of the future. But just Mickey Loomis, he hasn't done a good job post Drew Brees and Sean Payton regime building this team. He's consistently tried to build in, and he got the Saints fans to believe that we are a win now team. We can compete for some playoff position and maybe win a game or two. and maybe run the table. It's just not the case. Bringing in veteran guys over the years, you brought in Jarvis Landry, brought back Michael Thomas, Tyrann Mathieu, etc. It's just not working. Um, our draft picks the last few years have been okay. Drafted Chris Olave, drafted Alontae Taylor. I was never a big fan of getting rid of CJ Gardner Johnson. I mean, I think he brought a lot of energy to that defense. And we just Trevor Penny, a first round pick. We traded away our first round pick last year, even though we had one because of the Champagne trade. Saints just need to let it go. We don't have Drew Brees anymore and move forward. And that starts with firing the coaching staff and get a new voice in the locker room. So maybe Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, everyone else can get behind. I know we'll probably see Derek Carr again next year. It's not a lot probably the Saints can really do. Can't just eat up all that dead cap and just sit him on the bench. I'm really not trying to hear any Jameis Winston needs to be the quarterback. No, no. Jameis Winston at quarterback for the New Orleans Saints is like watching a roller coaster. He's literally, I feel like he's closing his eyes, throwing it, praying A.T. Perry comes down and catches something. But we saw in that Vikings game, we saw plenty of times. It's just he makes plays, but then when we need it most, it's just a mistake. It's just a mistake, and it's a roller coaster. And he's already on the older side. Um, he's a good backup, I think. Again, when he comes in when Derek Carr's been hurt, I mean, I'm not excited, but I'm like, he's capable of making throws. He knows the offense really well, but he's not the quarterback of the future. So next, let's get into blowing it all up. It's just basically getting rid of all the veterans. Favorite player, probably besides Brees that I've watched growing up, has been Michael Thomas. He's had his run, the offensive player of the year, what should have been 2018, the Super Bowl. I'm not gonna get into that, whatever. But Michael Thomas, he probably has. I want what's best for him too. I think he can move on to a better team. Wants to win now. I think Michael Thomas still has something left in the tank. Maybe someone like the Kansas City Chiefs. Just saying. Needing a receiver. Things. We'll see how things go at the end of this year. A place like that, someone where he has a situation, something to play for, a quarterback who will get him the ball, and a team that wants to win more than anything, and they're going to do that. An offensive-minded head coach and Andy Reid, best quarterback of this generation. Obviously, this upcoming generation, like the 2020, and Patrick Mahomes. I think somewhere like that would be amazing for him. I know Cameron Jordan said he wanted to retire a Saint, but you might be able to retire a Saint, but he probably, I don't know if he should be a starter anymore. He frankly has no pass rush moves, whatever, in the tank anymore. He just cannot get after the passer. He's okay in the run, but we haven't seen it make a big effect. We're probably bottom five. They haven't checked where we rank in rush defense, but it feels like every week it's the same thing over and over and over. Like probably down there with the Dallas Cowboys, how they were last week against the Buffalo Bills. That's our rush defense. Players like Tyrann Mathieu, again like Derek Carr, I think he'll still be on the team, but just moving on. Alvin Kamara, get whatever we can. We were going to trade him a few years back. Maybe it was last year? Yeah, I think it was last year when the Christian McCaffrey was getting traded. But getting whatever assets we can for him. Seeing if somehow we can get out of the Jamal Williams trade or in signing. And just trying to get young. Focus on our draft picks. Get as many picks as we can. Hopefully we can hit on some young secondary, defensive line, linebackers. And then we'll get into our last point right here. And I'll probably close out this video. The QB of the future. I'm hoping the Saints to do whatever they have to. He's not going anywhere. He's staying home. Jayden Daniels out of LSU. I know some either love him or hate him. I didn't watch a ton of LSU games this year. I've seen some. Obviously, I know he Heisman winner, lit up the stat sheet. But the Saints need someone new, someone to connect with, someone who can get the crowd going, someone who can bring fans in the stadium. We have how many games this year where people are booing Derek Carr? They need something to look forward to and someone to develop. If some reason we can't get Jayden Daniels, we need someone. They're obviously, I'm not a big fan of Caleb Williams. I haven't really looked much into Drake May. I know there's someone like a Bo Nix, but that's an older quarterback. I don't really think that's what the Saints are looking for. Um, but the Saints need someone. I don't know who it is exactly. Others, Michael Penix as well. I think he could be good in the NFL. There's people are having some doubts about him, but watching a good amount of Washington games, especially being a big fan of Oregon, watched two really big games against Oregon and some other games for Washington down the stretch. Michael Penix looks like he's really good. Frankly, just really, really good. But the Saints really just need someone who get the crowd excited, someone who can look to build the future with Olave and Shaheed, someone who can build that chemistry for years down the road, someone who, frankly, the Saints, I don't know the last time the Saints had a running quarterback be able to mix up their offense, something different, not a drop back 40 times a game, check it down 3 or 4 yards. Just something different for the New Orleans Saints, something to bring life into this team. This team, frankly, looks like they have no energy. They're playing uninspired, frankly. That's why I'm bringing a new head coach. Not really sure who's on the market. I mean, Steelers talking about firing Mike Tomlin, Bill Belichick, but I wouldn't jump to say they want to come to the Saints. What does the Saints really have to offer? Without Jaden Daniels, our quarterback for the future, I don't think no one wants to come to New Orleans and coach Derek Carr or any of these old aging veterans. It's just probably not something these coaches want to do. But maybe some other coaches on the market. I'm not really sure yet. We'll see it towards the end of the season. Definitely not. I'm not a fan of bringing in like someone like Brandon Staley. He looks like he can't keep a locker room happy either. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Who do you think needs to be fired from the coaching staff? Who do you think needs to be released or traded from the current roster? What do you think the Saints need ahead? Where do their targets need to be in the upcoming draft? I think it stands as quarterback if we can get Jan Daniels. If not, maybe just wait a little bit down in the later rounds. Defensive line's a must, an absolute must. Building that O line, absolute must. No more big splashy guys. We got Olave, we got Shaheed, explosive players, but we need to have time to get the guys the ball now and actually create positive running. So these defenses aren't just gearing up for Olave and Shaheed because they know what's coming because we cannot run the ball. After those two, building the linebackers, the secondary, specifically the safeties, basically where I think our focus should be. I think we give KJ Miller maybe a little bit more opportunity if we can get off of Alvin Kamara for the right deal. Obviously, Alvin Kamara still has some juice left in the tank, so I'm not gonna just get rid of him for a fifth round pick. But if we can get a third, maybe like a third and fourth, we might consider it. It's running backs are hard to keep good value. We saw Christian McCaffrey got, I think, got a second, third, fourth, maybe one more pick, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, Kamara doesn't have that type of juice still left in the tank. So maybe if we can get a third or fourth round pick, we can send team, maybe we might take that. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Might be making some more Saints Insider videos as the season goes along, previewing for the Bucks game. If the Bucks end up losing this week, if the Bucks end up beating the Jaguars this week, Saints playoff hopes are very slim. The chance to win the division would be near zero because the Saints, even with the win at the Bucks next week, will need the Bucks to lose versus the Carolina Panthers. Which, hey, the Panthers just beat the Falcons last week, but I don't think the Bucks would lose to the Panthers in the last week of the season. I would not bank on that. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and peace.